Welcome to episode 63 of Crosstown Cardboard with myself, Carmine at Carmine's Cards, the sports storyteller down here in Greenville, South Carolina. Just witnessed my first Palmetto Bowl, Clemson taking care of the South Carolina Gamecocks in the in-state rivalry. That was a lot of fun. And Craig at New York City Sports Cards, the math teacher and the soccer coach, originally from Long Island, now in New York City. I'm originally from Westchester County, New York, and that's why we're Crosstown. But Craig, you just got back from cross country. You made a trip to Denver, Colorado, see the family over Thanksgiving. Our last episode was Thanks Cards, an ode to cards for the holiday. And that's why we're calling this Hobby High Life for the title of our episode. Of course, Denver, the Mile High City. Although I do want to point out, when I was in Wyoming, in Laramie, Wyoming, they have the highest elevation college stadium, 7,220 feet, almost 2,000 feet higher than the Mile High City. But that's, a personal thing for me. So Hobby High Life, Craig, we got a lot of family-oriented activities for you involving cards. Of course, wherever you go, you try to make a card store or a card shop trip, which we talked about. And then I have a couple new card pickups and a card development that's not quite family, but I did join a new group of people who collect the same cards. So that's a little tease, but mainly we're going to be focusing on your Hobby High Life experience, Craig. So what was the feeling like in Denver, and then how did you incorporate cards into your trip, which you always do so well?
So the Hobby High Life, obviously a play on words. I just came back from Denver, the Mile High City. But also, what does the Hobby High Life mean to you? If you get to share the hobby with family, to me, that's living good. That's living the high life. So that's what I did this weekend. Visiting the in-laws for Thanksgiving. It's a lot of family time. It's a lot of food. But my wife and my in-laws, they pretty much come to expect at this point that there will be cards as a part of the trip. So we made cards a part of the trip on multiple occasions.
There you go. So how did that trip? What was the first one of those trips?
So first one, right off the bat, you of course use Facebook. We've met on Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
But I put up a buying post on Facebook because we're setting up in Culture Collision in Atlanta in January, and I don't have a ton of inventory. So I need some stuff. So I put up a buying post, which you try to make it as specific as possible what you're looking for. But as you could probably imagine, you get flooded with tons and tons and tons of cards you just don't want. Joey D's cards. He's great at Facebook buying posts.
Yes, he puts one up like almost every day.
Every day. Like. And same thing. He says people comment like, "Oh, do you ever really buy stuff on here?" It doesn't look like you ever do. Well, like myself, Joe is just very particular and picky.
Yeah.
So I'm getting flooded with dozens of messages and comments and DMs, which is great, right? It's nice to have those options, but just nothing really catching my eye. And then finally, someone DMs me on November 23rd. So that was about a week ago. No, that was a few days ago. What am I talking about? I have no track of time right now.
So well, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be about a week ago. Also, shout out to, isn't that Bobby Schmurda? About a week ago?
About a week ago. Yeah, you understand. We're cool. So, okay. So the date does matter for context because I arrived in Denver Wednesday the 22nd. Thanksgiving's the 23rd. So I had that buying post up for about a week. And then the morning of Thanksgiving, November 23rd, someone sends me a message with a bunch of baseball cards. And I don't really do baseball, but there were a few that caught my eye. So I said, this is what I said precisely. I said, sweet stuff. I don't really collect modern baseball too much, but out of curiosity, what are the Ichiro, Jeter, and Ozzie Albies valued at? He sent me a bunch of patch autographs. Long story short, again, for context, I've had this Facebook post up for a week. People sending me stuff. I didn't really like anything. And finally, someone messages me these baseball cards that I liked. It turns out that this individual on Facebook lives 15 minutes from my in-laws in Denver.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
We're just continuing to bombard the audience with these hobby coincidences.
Unreal. Who knows where the people who sent me other cards from all across the country, I can only assume. And of course, the one person whose cards I actually liked with 15 minutes in Denver from my in-laws. So I had to get my wedding ring dipped, nice and freshened up in a town in Denver called Cherry Creek. So was talking to this guy on Facebook. I said, hey, I'll be in Cherry Creek around 12:30. I'll meet you in the Starbucks. And it's exactly what happened.
So you went for a different type of engagement than the wedding ring situation. So it was kind of a meeting of the hobby and your love for the hobby at the same time.
There you go. And I had to go to the jeweler anyway. We already had that planned. And while I was there in town, I told him this is where I'll be. We met up. And should I show you the cards now or finish the story?
Yes. Okay. No, cards.
So I was able to close the deal for this 2006 Topps the Mint Ichiro Suzuki on-card autograph numbered out of 10.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good man. What an autograph. I've seen his
Ichiro,
autograph before.
I like Ichiro's autograph.
I forgot how it's kind of crazy.
This is a PSA 9 with a 10 autograph. I love that it's on card. I love that it's numbered out of 10. I love that it's a pop 1. And also, as we say, the learning never stops. I had never heard of this set before. 2016 Topps the Mint.
Yeah.
Turns out it was a high-end set. They only did it for 1 year. Like one of those, 5 cards per pack. Every pack's an autograph. So before I officially closed the deal, I was on YouTube watching box breaks of 2016 Topps the Mint. So I familiarized myself with the product of the cards that I was going to buy.
That's cool because that makes the card more meaningful to you now that you have a backstory on it, a little history.
Yeah, so this is cool. So this is the on-card autograph out of 10. And he messaged me, he said, we closed the deal for that first. And he said, well, you might as well also take the patch autograph. So also from 2016 Top the Mint, Ichiro Suzuki, 4-color game used patch, on-card autograph, PSA 8, 10 autograph, numbered out of 75. Also a pop 1. And what's super cool about this, which a lot of Topps baseball products do, you see a little hologram right here.
Yeah.
If you look it up online, it tells you the exact date of the game used uniform that Ichiro wore.
Wow, that's cool. I had heard about that. I didn't know exactly how it worked, but man, that's cool. I love the 4 colors. Even though is it Mariners still?
No, this is the Marlins. Obviously, Ichiro's known for the Mariners, but I'll take what I can get.
Right.
And you asked me before, are these PC cards? I don't know. I really love this patch autograph. So my idea was perhaps maybe try to sell the on-card autograph to lower my cost on the patch auto. And this would be more of a PC. I just think this is a beautiful card. It's Ichiro. You can't really go wrong. He's a legend. It's on card. It's game worn. It's 4 colors. My type of card. Do you want to guess what I paid for the pair?
Well, I'm not really into the baseball or Ichiro market, but I'll give you a guess off the top of my head. Can you just hold them up just so I can?
Yep.
All right. So you got the patch auto out of 75. You got
PSA 8, 10 auto.
Right. You got the just on-card auto out of 10. I'm going to say around 550.
450.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. The price made sense looking at comps, and these cards don't show up at all. So pretty thrilled about that deal. And we said that there's a lot of family in this episode. Oh, yeah. I was in Starbucks with my wife, my sister-in-law, and our niece, the 4 of us, just hanging out, drinking hot cocoa. And then this guy walks in, says hi to the family, and I'm just making conversation. I'm paying him the money. He's giving me the cards while my wife's sister-in-law and 5-year-old niece are just 2 feet away watching the whole thing happen. So it was pretty fun to have my family there to see me close a card deal.
What were their comments after seeing you in action? I mean, you already closed the deal before meeting him, right?
Yes. I hadn't paid him yet. I paid him in cash.
Okay. So what did they think about it?
Not much. They kind of just, my family has come to expect at this point. This is just what I do.
Yeah. Okay.
It was fun. It was fun to have them there watching that. Again, the whole thing, the fact that after dozens of cards that I didn't like, the one DM of cards that I liked, the person happened to live so close to my in-laws while I was in Denver. The time, you can't make this stuff up. The hobby stories write themselves.
Yeah. That's awesome. Wow. Okay. That's very cool. Another coincidence. That's 3 out of 4 Crosstown Cardboard episodes that we've had kind of a crazy hobby coincidence that's fallen into place. But you know what? It's just about the participation. I mean, being involved in it and trying to make these deals happen, you're gonna inevitably have some situations like this that are either coincidences or cool things that fall into place, or I always love the phrase, you keep knocking on the door, eventually somebody's going to answer, so And that's what's been happening. So, I mean, and you knocked on the door a bunch of different times with the cards that you were not interested in. And eventually you got the answer from, coincidentally, somebody's household where you could have actually, probably gotten to their house because they were so close. Yeah. But that's awesome. That's awesome.
And I love the cards. I love the cards. Such unique cards. Yeah. I'm not normally Ichiro collector, but I mean, if you're like us, born early 90s, you grew up watching Ichiro play.
Yeah.
So a lot of nostalgia here.
He has the most hits all time as far as combined leagues with the Japanese league and then the MLB, I'm pretty sure.
You know what? I did not do my Ichiro research before this, but that sounds about right.
But I mean, everybody knows he's an all-time,
of course,
great hitter.
We always like to reference Tony Gwynn on here as guys who get on base. Ichiro.
Yeah.
We got to make Ichiro shirts.
You could throw him in there as well. We got to make Ichiro shirts.
But no, I enjoyed learning about a new set as well. A high-end set that I had never seen, and I love these cards. Whether I keep them, move them. Again, always when we're buying cards, right? Does it check off our Mount Rushmore of what we look for? If I could sell them for a profit, sure, that would be cool. But they're the type of cards that if I cannot sell, I'm happy to have them in my collection.
Yep, awesome. And just because you got those 2 Ichiro cards, I'm looking at his stats real quick on his career. MVP, Rookie of the Year, 10-time Gold Glove, 3-time Silver Slugger, 10-time All-Star, 2-time batting title. He won an All-Star Game MVP. His best season batting average, 372. And remember, we talked about Tony Gwynn. His was in the 390s for his best year. But over a 19-year career, Craig, with Ichiro, 311 is what he batted. And he had 3,089 hits in the major leagues in America. And then a lot more hits before he even came here. So, and he played for the Yankees, too. So that's kind of cool. A little New York tie for you before he went to the Marlins, the card that you got the patch auto with, and then went back to the Mariners to retire in 2019 was his last season. So definitely an all-time great.
Yeah, pretty thrilled about that. And again, he's known for the Mariners, but the Marlins patches are nasty and colorful.
Oh, yeah. Great colors. Great colors.
We should go in chronological order here.
Okay.
So, did you by any chance catch the Knicks game on Friday night?
The Knicks on Friday. I'm sure I know about it, but it's a few days apart. So what?
Okay. That was the game. They were losing to the Heat. They were up by 1 at halftime. They went down 21 after that, and they made an incredible fourth quarter comeback.
Okay, yes.
Jaylen Brunson just doing Jaylen Brunson things. And while the game was going on, I told you I've purchased 2 cards on eBay the entire year. The whole year. 2 cards on eBay. eBay is just not my thing.
Yeah.
But 2022-23 National Treasures just came out, which means they finally have Jaylen Brunson game-worn patch cards in the Knicks colors. So there was just no way I was losing this auction. No way.
Yep. You were talking to me about that after we recorded last week. That's a cool card. Very cool card.
4-color, Jaylen Brunson, Knicks, game-worn, out of 25 from National Treasures. After taxes and fees and everything, came out to like $100, and that's just like exactly the type of card that I like. So happy about that win. I won it as the fourth quarter comeback was happening, so that was a cool moment as well.
Did you win the auction in the fourth quarter? Did you place a last-second bid to win that?
I placed the last-second bid.
So you're just as clutch as Jaylen.
What can I say?
Yeah, because the Knicks won that game by 2, 198.
And I won that, and I won the bid by 14.
Nice. Look at, and they outscored the Heat 29-11 in the fourth quarter to win that game. Wow.
So now I'll always remember where I was when I won that card.
Mm-hmm.
In my mother-in-law's basement watching the Knicks game.
And a little revenge from last year's playoffs when the Heat knocked us out after we beat Joey D's Cards Cavs. So
I still can't believe, but hey, this year's a new year.
Yeah.
So that was that was my second or third eBay purchase of the year. But
that's great. Good purchase. Good purchase.
When the right card appears, you got to go for it.
Good purchase.
Yes.
I'm happy about that. So let's keep it rolling before we get to some of my stuff, because we're on the Denver train. We're, still feeling the hobby high life. So what's the next card development on your trip?
All right. So I went to Mike's Stadium Sports Cards, so Mike Fruitman is the owner, which the more I'm talking to him and I hear from other people, he's kind of a legend in the game.
Oh, okay.
Well, I listen to Dr. Beckett, Beckett from like Beckett Magazine, his podcast, and his podcast is actually sponsored by Mike's Stadium Sports Cards. So I always hear that name.
Okay.
I had been to the shop before. I was messaging Mike a little bit beforehand because every time I've gone, he was not there. He's had this shop since 1988.
Wow.
So I went in
35 years of owning this card.
like really an OG to the game. So I had a fun time exchanging stories with the owner. I went with my brother-in-law. We have a tradition when we go to Denver, we go on a little card shop tour, although this is the only one we went to. But then my other brother-in-law met us there with his 3 kids who are 7, 9, and 12.
Wow.
So it was a family affair in the card store. I was trying to show them around, teach them a little game, but at the same time, I was there for business.
Right.
I brought some football cards with me. The type of cards that were just in my collection. I'm like, I don't have use for these. So let me see if I could at least trade them in. And my first observation about the shop was Mike, the owner. He's very fluid with buying, selling, and trading in a way I had never seen from an owner before. Like he'll take a stack of cards and just be like, yeah, $2 a piece, 30 cards, $60. There's $60 store credit. Just like boom on the spot.
Wow. And he is able to estimate it, do it quick, and kind of. I mean, he's seen so many cards over the 35 years. I'm sure he knows what sells, what doesn't, what he can get for it.
He'll look up comps. But in that example, the low end cards just like take some store credit for it. I saw him do that with someone else.
Okay.
But I knew I wanted to trade some football cards in, and he had a very interesting quote. I wish I had it exactly, but he said something more or less along the lines of, if there's a card that's in his shop, then he did something wrong. Meaning, if there's still a card in his shop and nobody wants to buy it, that's like on him, the fact that card is still there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good way. And same way for us or any dealer setting up at a card show or anything like that. I mean, you kind of, and I like that, Mike is taking the responsibility there of his own decision-making, causing it, like not blaming the market or blaming, anybody else for their card preferences. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, but this guy Mike had a lot of stories, a lot of stories with like athletes and stuff. He said Aaron Gordon did a signing recently, obviously being a Denver guy, and he said he was great. So love to hear that. But last time I was at that shop, I found a lot of gems, and I referenced it as a card that I think is in high demand, but is just sitting in the shop, and I need to free it out into the hobby world.
Yep.
I didn't see too much of that, but regardless, I came in thinking I'm coming home with new cards. I'm going to somehow trade in the football cards that I brought, so I was able to do so. Here are the 4 cards I ended up with. Don't judge me on this one. I just thought it was cool. Ian Book Select, a gold patch with the letter K. Yeah,
that is cool. Notre Dame legend.
It's not associated with anything, all right? It was a cool card. It was like $20. I don't know. It'll look cool if I have it at a table with me.
It does look cool, and it's a rookie. So if he ever, starts to play well, maybe he can, get a little increase in value there.
Gold 10 out of 10. But then there's nothing else that really caught my eye. So I'm thinking, all right, I've talked to a lot of people who move a lot of inventory, who buy a lot. What always sells? Hall of Fame autographs.
That's what I love. That's what I go for.
Here are a couple cards I was able to pick up. This is a 2014 Topps 5-star Wade Boggs autograph.
Okay.
Gold ink. I don't know. It was a cool card.
I don't know.
Sorry, no, that was 2020 Topps 5-star. This is 2014 Topps Museum Collection, numbered out of 15.
I like the museum collection, the way they design the cards.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful card. Bob Gibson autograph.
Cool. Okay, it's an all-time legend.
Both guys who worked at the store, Mike and someone else, when I said, hey, can I see that card? Both of them on separate occasions said, like, oh, nastiest picture I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not really my style usually, but a couple Hall of Fame on-card autographs. Wade Boggs, Bob Gibson. Wow, that's a tough right there.
That's like a chain reaction almost.
Yeah. And we're going to be in Atlanta in January. So this is a really nice card. A Ronald Acuna Topps 3-color game-worn patch out of 25. A little color match action.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. The
Just a
game
nice looking
used.
card.
Now we're back to the game used.
On card autographs, game worn patches. You know how we do.
Yeah, and perfect for the Atlanta Braves, like you said, setting up at Culture Collision in Atlanta for both of us in January. So, yeah, that's sweet. I feel like you don't really find, because in that set, like that's a rare find in that set.
2020.
At a 25 and with the vintage design and the 3-color deal. That's cool.
So, I wouldn't say I got like crazy deals on anything, but I was able to take my football cards that I didn't want. And I would much rather, when I think about, I always say, what do I want my table to look like when we set up at a show? I'd much rather have some on-card autographs of Hall of Famers, game-worn patches, than whatever football fluff I had there.
Football fluff. I like that. Did you trade in your Mac Jones unassociated patch?
Yes,
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. That's right. That's right in the category of football fluff.
Yes. And I got some wax while I was there.
Okay.
Not normally my style, but I'm like, you know what? I'm with family. That is the theme of this episode, doing hobby with family. So first thing I got that I was really excited about was, I don't know if you saw the 2010 Upper Deck Sweet Shot.
Yes. Well, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on your stories on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll show it again here. This just brought me way back.
Okay, nice.
I mean, remember that when you had like single packs, you had a hit per pack, and there was nothing great in it, but still, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was still exciting. Exciting.
And then I got a box, and then my brother-in-law also got a hobby box of Topps Allen and Ginter because it's under $100. It's a lot of pop culture and stuff. So when you're talking about ripping with the whole family, like my 5-year-old niece is ripping with us. Allen and Ginter has cards with birds on them. So even something a 5-year-old can enjoy.
Not Larry Bird.
Not Larry Bird. Actual birds with wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
so
not
nothing.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha.
There was nothing great that came out of the boxes, but it was fun. We got to rip with family. And that's it. That's my Thanksgiving 2023 Denver hobby high life experience.
Wow. So is this niece the same one who you had taken card shop trips with and given cards to previously?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. The one who you gave, what'd you give her? You gave her a women's soccer card, didn't you?
I did.
Okay.
Good
so
memory.
is she like starting to get, have you noticed the wheels turning a little bit more, or is it kind of, no? Okay.
It's more just like my aunt and uncle are in town. I'll do whatever they're doing.
Okay. But she now knows that that's something that she is starting to incorporate into her own playtime or fun time, right?
Sure. She should think of, when she thinks of me, she should not only think of like how cool of an uncle I am, but the fact that I collect cards, and she'll associate those two together.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. When we make Tony Gwynn shirts, we'll we'll get into, we'll make kid size, because we got to start, getting the viewership up, and that's an untapped market maybe for us.
Another observation about the Mike Stadium sports cards, the bathroom, awesome bathroom.
I saw that. I loved how you took a picture of that on the put it on your story.
Oh yeah. So I appreciate little things like that. Great shop, something for everyone, organized, like 3-row bins by team, buying, selling, trading, everything you could ask for in a shop. And the owner, Mike, listen, Mike's good at this. He carries a lot of charisma in his shop. He makes everyone feel very welcoming. Definitely a place I would recommend.
And what exactly about Mike makes you say that he was good at this, other than being welcoming and knowledgeable?
A good mix of friendly, sarcastic, and knowledgeable. Very welcoming. Okay. Very welcoming to the kids. Seriously, what I look for in a shop, Mike Stadium Sports Cards really does it best, I think, from what I've seen. I haven't seen much like it.
That's great. And by the way, with the bathroom thing, I feel like card shops have a reputation of not being the cleanest sometimes, depending on what card shop you go into. But that leaves the door open for, if you do have a clean card shop, if you do take care of the bathroom, there's not like random stuff lying around, what you mop the floor with. You don't have like a bucket in there, and you don't have, cleaning supplies, all that. Because the standard is so low for what the cleanliness should be, if you do it like Mike's, which Craig is showing a photo of what the bathroom looked like on the YouTube here, then you can really stand out, because you're exceeding a low expectation, but you're doing it in such a much better way, and that's part of the welcoming aspect of it. If you're ready to make a deal, you're like, oh, let me just head to the bathroom real quick, and it's nasty in there, you might get a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth and not feel as comfortable as, valued that the card shop is putting the effort into creating a clean space for you and stuff like that. So that's important. I'm glad that shop is so detail oriented and caring for the customers in those aspects too.
A bad taste in your mouth, literally and figuratively.
Well, yeah, you gotta if you're breathing through the mouth, then yeah, you're gonna have a tough time.
So, but yeah, came away leaving Denver with 6 new cards, which is very exciting. The fact that I was able to make a trade, 6 football cards plus cash for 4 cards and 4 boxes was just a lot of fun and totally random.
Yeah. And you saved some money by using the store credits. That's always great.
There you go. That's it. That's all I got for you. Until next time, Denver.
Until next time, because that's always whenever you go there, you always find the hobby high life. You seek it out. All right. So should I get to a couple of my developments here?
Do it.
All right. So speaking of trading, I was able to trade. I'll break it down for you. I was able to trade a Steve Nash flawless on-card auto numbered out of 15. I'm showing on the screen here. And I've had this card for a while. Steve Nash was the guy who I patterned my game after when I was growing up, along with Larry Bird, but I didn't have the 6'9" height, so I was more of a point guard. But the way he distributed the ball, I always loved it. And, of course, his time with the Phoenix Suns, that was my favorite team back in the day. But so I had this flawless auto. I added 225 cash, and I got this card, notable nicknames, autograph, Joe Montana, with the inscription, Joe Cool. And you know how much I love the inscriptions. It matches one that I got at the National, which is another notable nicknames, but this one is Rob Gronkowski with the inscription Gronk on there. It's a white box, 1 of 1. So now I got these 2 notable nicknames. There goes Steve Nash with you. What?
Yep. Hold up the picture. Hold up the Steve Nash autograph.
Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Steve Nash is a legend in the game and plays a lot of soccer.
Yeah, I know. He loves that with his footwork and that was the sport he grew up playing in Canada.
You're a big inscription autograph guy, which I think is a good niche to be a part of.
Yeah, you know what I like about it is 2 things. One, it makes the card more rare and less common. And then the other thing is it's a personal touch. It's like the guy wrote their nickname, or the lady, depending on who the athlete is, wrote their nickname, and it differentiates the card from any other auto, and it personalizes it to where, I'm imagining Joe Montana writing on here, Joe Cool, and what he was thinking or feeling, like writing his own nickname on there. And then Gronk, writing Gronk on there is pretty cool. So, and there's also not many out there. I mean, if you look up like the inscription cards on any player really, but especially Gronkowski and Montana, you're not going to find very much. So it makes it I don't want to say unique, because technically the definition of unique is only one of them, but it makes it, much more rare to where, you don't really see many of them, and it just adds a cool factor.
A Joe Cool factor.
This guy's a Joe Cool factor. Exactly.
We got to get you a Stay Mellow autograph.
Oh man, if he has a Mellow, and it just, it brings you back to, not that I ever really got to see Joe Montana play, and he was a little bit before our time, but it brings you back to how people would talk about this athlete in the barbershop or at the bar or, among your friends. Like, you would call him Gronk. You might say, Joe Cool. Wow, that guy's awesome. So it brings it down to a more personal level and more relatable level. And it reminds me of the fun aspect of sports too, to where, it's like, when I'm doing my sports broadcasting and commenting on highlights, I use people's nicknames or make up nicknames for them, I remember we had this kid named Dante in Casper, Wyoming, my first on-camera broadcast spot. He was a running back for the local high school, and I called him Dante's Inferno.
You made that up.
I made it up. I actually put a graphic on the screen at the start of the football season listing off a bunch of the nicknames that I was going to be using for that season. So it was pretty fun. There was this running back for another local team. His last name was Spiegelberg, and I called him the director after Steven Spielberg. But anyway, so that's kind of a personal thing that I like to do because I think it makes it more of a homey feel to it. Makes somebody feel a little bit more special, and the personal touch and the rarity that it adds to a sports card. So I got that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna maybe put a high price on this one and sell it, or if I'll keep it. But the last one was a PSA 9 that sold for I think $450 back in February, so about 9 months ago. And so with a cool rare card like this, you can kind of name your own price within reason. So I feel like I got that at about what it should be going for. If you look at the last comps, is what I'm into it for, around 400. Maybe you factor in the raw with the PSA 9, like what we were talking about before I talked about it here. We were messaging about it. So, but either way, happy about that, unless I get the price that I'm looking for, which would be quite a bit more than the last sale.
You didn't ship the Steve Nash yet?
Yeah, I did.
What were you just showing me then?
That was a photo on my phone.
Okay. And then what was your thought on the Steve Nash card? Because I feel like you don't see a lot of Steve Nash.
Yeah, you don't
in general, but I can't feel like he doesn't have much of a market in this hobby either.
I think he actually does, from what I've seen, because the supply is so low. Like, I wouldn't say the demand is crazy, but because the supply is low, it kind of, evens out because the laws of supply and demand. Yeah. So I've had this card for a while. Also, it's in his Lakers uniform, which, when he united with Kobe and Dwight Howard and Powell, that was supposed to be the big four at the time. And then Steve Nash got hurt. Dwight Howard couldn't get along with Kobe because Kobe was too tough on him for what his communication style was, and it never worked out. So if it was in the Suns uniform, maybe I would consider PCing it, but the Lakers, didn't really do it for me. So that was never a PC card.
That Lakers team was an all-time on-paper team. Nash, Kobe, Ron Artest, Pau Gasol, Dwight Howard. Damn.
Yeah. And maybe 4 stars is too many, like when they had Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Shaq, and Kobe. And then would they lose 4-1 to the Pistons in that year, 04?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe 3 is the magic number, the big 3. They don't call it the big 4, so maybe that's too many stars like you're seeing on the Clippers, Harden, Paul George, Kawhi, Westbrook. But, speaking of a guy who I consider a star, but most wouldn't in the common NBA, I got this card that I mentioned last time, this JJ Redick triple patch. It came in the mail. It's got 2 of the Philadelphia 76ers stars on there. Is that from? Game used. It is Dominion, which we talked about.
We talked about that. Good set.
Last time, and it's a nice set. I'm not crazy about the set, but I am crazy about the patches. So I picked this one up for $45, which I think was pretty much double what the last one sold for. But it doesn't sell, and it's a cool card. It's numbered out of 10. And I just want to shout out my guy, Jeremy, Koopy Cards, who we talked about, because he wrote this really nice note on the JJ Redick shipment. He wrote it on like the cardboard that you attach to, keep the card safe during shipping. He goes, "I love seeing my Garnett Rodman in your background every time," which is, right here.
Yep.
If you're watching on the YouTube, it's in the background, and that's a card I got from him about a year ago, or maybe a little bit more now. He goes, "I love what you post and how you go about it. Keep it up." And he signed it Jeremy Cooper, and he also put 1 of 1. So obviously, I got to keep this card, not only for the kind message, but because of the rarity being 1 of 1.
That's a nice gesture. I could appreciate a handwritten note.
Yeah, I love that. And he always, puts in thought and care to not only the cards that he sends, but how he goes about it, and the kindness and the community that he tries to build with his story sales. And then also, he gives me first crack at cards that he knows that I'll like, which is really cool, where you build up a rapport and a friendship with somebody, and then they look out for you and they know your style. They know what you might like. So I really enjoyed that. And I figured I'd shout out Jeremy Koopy Cards on Instagram.
Good dude. Made plenty of deals with him. He has very similar collecting styles to both of us. With patches, a lot of the mid 2000s type products. So, over time, you start to gravitate towards the people who collect the way you do. Speaking of collecting,
and a little bit of an old soul.
He is, like yourself. I have another.
I'm sorry, I jumped in the middle of your. I'm sorry, I jumped in your segue. You were going from one sentence to the next.
Well, I am the transition king after all. Speaking of gravitating towards others who collect like you, why don't you share with us the Facebook groups that you've joined?
Oh shoot! Wow, you set me up. Usually you're transitioning into your own topic. Now you're lobbing me up. You're Jason Kidd and I'm Vince Carter on the break. Just
that was my AIM screen name when I was in middle school. PG like J Kidd too.
No way.
Yeah, so J Kidd. That's shout out to Jason Kidd. Maybe our first Jason Kidd reference on this podcast.
Well, hold on, because I don't know if you remember. I just want to bring this back. The gift that I got from somebody at the National. Okay. I was so caught off guard by the kindness of this gesture that I never even got the person's name. And he seemed like he didn't really want a lot of credit for it. I mean, he just came up. He's like, "Hey, I know you're collecting, the 0304 Ultimate Collection on-card auto set, the Ultimate Signatures." And, I've mentioned this a few times on the podcast, but not recently. And he's like, "So I got this Jason Kidd, and I just wanted to give this to you because I know, it's going to mean more to you than me. And I'm a big fan of the podcast." And so I was like, "What?" Nice. And this is like a $60, $70. This is not a cheapie. This is like a $50 to $80 card, I'd say. And, there's not a lot of print run with these. They don't come up very often. So I just want to shout out that, maybe that could have been in the Thanks Cards episode, but thankful for people listening and then relating to our stuff and what we put out, what we talk about in our card journeys. But yeah, so here's Jason Kidd on the Ultimate Collection, Ultimate Signatures 0304 set that I got going. And I got 7 of these so far. Of course, the biggest one's LeBron, Kobe, and Michael Jordan. But I do have the Carmelo and Wade rookie autos and the Patrick Ewing and a few others. So, but, that was just a sidetrack on the Jason Kidd. The Instagram thing that ties into the group that I joined, because I posted the JJRC card that I got from Koopy Cards, was somebody hit me up. They're like, "Hey, I see you collect JJRC. Can I see the rest of your Redics? I also PC JJRC." And a few people have, told me that they also collect some JJ cards. And I'm like, "Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'll send you some." So we start going back and forth, and I saw a couple of his. I'm like, they were flawless patch autos. I'm like, "Oh, I really would love to get a flawless patch auto of JJRC." But I don't think he really wanted to move them. But beautiful cards. The guy's name is Brandon, who hit me up. It's at Lions Den Cards, but Lion is spelled LYONZ, Den Cards. Super cool, flawless stuff that I'm trying to maybe one day pry off of him, because I don't have any flawless patch autos of JJRC. I'll pull one up here. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, so that's cool. That's in the 76ers uniform also. So I started talking to him about the JJ cards, sent him some pictures of mine. He sent me some pictures of his, and we're just, enjoying talking about a shared love in the hobby. So all of a sudden he invites me to this group called Rivalry.
Whoa.
And it's all these guys who PC JJRC. It's
how many?
10 different guys.
Okay. I thought you were about to tell me this group was like 100 people deep.
No. No, this is a tight group, and Yeah, just a bunch of people, Reddick _collector_85, Cameron Crazy's cards. So of course that's mostly Duke, Super _Reddick collector, just and a few other people who aren't don't have their name as Reddick or Duke, but just super cool to be included in a JJ Reddick collector group and create a bond with a stranger and other now new acquaintances, new friends in the hobby. And I felt like I had to kind of prove myself a little bit, so they invited me and I said, hey guys, Carmine here, happy to be added to the Reddit group, with a flexing bicep emoji, because I always like to put some level of enthusiasm in there, thank them for including me. And one of the guys goes, howdy, what kind of Reddicks do you collect? So I sent a bunch of my Reddicks here that I got I'm pulling up on the screen, some patch autos, some numbered cards, actually a lot of these gifts from last Christmas that a few listeners and viewers sent in that we talked about back then. And I could tell this guy was from Australia because he said, amazing cards, mate. So I'm like, this is a worldwide Reddit situation.
You feel like you sent enough to that group where they welcome you. You're amongst them now.
Yes, I'm in there. So one guy was really wanting my JJ Reddick RPA, this Topps triple threads, because it's a color match with the sick patches, auto, rookie, numbered out of 3. So other than, I don't know if they have a 1 of 1, I assume they do. But other than that, it's the only color match and it's numbered 1 out of 3. It's a desirable card. So I told him I wasn't selling it at this time. But
good for you. Hold strong.
Yeah, but
that's
super
great.
Cool.
Wow, there's a JJ Reddick PC group out there. Very cool. Congratulations on the invite.
Thank you. I feel like I have elevated in that regard, and I think what I'm going to start doing is, how people make those videos, the reels of like going through their PCs. I feel like I need to get on that. Like do one with JJ Reddick, do one with my Knicks on-card autos, maybe do one with my Ultimate Collection, Ultimate Signatures. Of course, Larry Bird I could easily do, and that would be a fun one. I feel like that's a new, I guess, content area, but I hate using the word content. It just sounds so sterile. I just feel like that's a new video I could put out that would relate with the hobby and show off what I've been working on, basically, as well. So
I don't hate that idea. Maybe I'll do the same.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea.
Look at us just talking about creating content as we are creating content.
That's a double entendre for us. We're really making great use of our time.
Yes. A lot of card action for me. It's funny. I'm thinking about the week ahead. I'm like, well, if we record a week from now, I don't know what I'm going to do hobby-wise within the next 7 days, but somehow, some way, something will come up.
Yeah. No, it always does. It always does. You're right. You took the words right out of my mouth. It really, because we're both involved in the hobby, whether it's making new connections with an Instagram group, buying or selling cards, getting a PC card, getting cards that we might want to use for our inventory to set up a Culture Collision in January. It's like always something going on. And then if there's not something going on, we can always do an episode like we've done several times in the past. That's just a philosophy or an angle on the hobby that we can just both go back and forth on. So,
or we get into some old, listen, I've got hobby stories from when I was 7, 10, 12 years old that we haven't even uncovered yet. So we'll save those for a rainy day.
Yeah.
I got some juicy stuff. I really do. Teaser.
I know you do. I'm like always shocked sometimes when you tell me these hobby stories, and I'm like, why did you not tell me that sooner? That was unbelievable. But you're a breadcrumb guy. You don't give it all. You keep the people wanting more.
All part of the plan.
All right, bro. Well, that's episode 63, Hobby High Life. Glad you had a great trip with the family in Denver, and you're able to share this with not only the card community, but your family, and have some excitement, bond with the brothers-in-law, which I'd imagine is not always the easiest, but you got something there to connect over and continue building that relationship too.
Yep, it's part of my Denver tradition now.
All right, bro.
All right, peace.